Well, clients have been asking, so let's talk about it. Why make the switch from vegan for years, vegetarian for even more years, all the way over to carnivore? What goes on in a person's mind? And what changes have I seen? These are the questions that I figured it was about time to answer. So, starting at 2021, I was super strict vegetarian and had 3 children in my early 20s. For all of those pregnancies, I was totally vegan or vegetarian. And I did it for health reasons. I was studying nutrition, or thought I was studying nutrition, and I decided that cutting out meat was the healthiest thing that I could do. So when my children were little, they were also raised vegan and vegetarian. I just kind of waffled in between. I will say that I almost always had lots of butter in the house, real butter. Yeah, so that was kind of like my one cheat thing. And I'm grateful for that now, for what I know of nutrition. I also almost always did eggs and fed my children lots of eggs. I'm grateful for that, which, we can all debate about, but not here and not now. So like I said, I was studying nutrition. I was studying herbology. I have studied herbs and plants for 29 years now. So I love them. I love them very much, which also makes this transition really complicated internally, really scary in a lot of ways, because obviously in studying plant medicine for 29 years now, I really can't undo my belief in plants, but that's okay. That might be a video for another time, actually. I went through all of these years, vegan and vegetarian. I probably started to have thyroid issues. Now looking back, around maybe when I was 30, things were starting to creep up. But I would say that by the time I was 35, I had some weird stuff going on. Hair loss, for one, thinning hair. I've always had a really thick, full head of hair, so that was very noticeable to me. And that's probably when pains and aches started in. By the time I was 40, I was starting to think that maybe my friends were right, because my mom has thyroid issues. Two of my very closest friends are diagnosed with Hashimoto's or Graves' disease, one of the two, and I was seeing it come up so much. And even though I was literally trying to solve other people's thyroid issues, I wouldn't deal with my own, and I kept saying, that's not what this is, that's not what this is. I stayed in an Airbnb owned by Michelle Corey, who wrote The Thyroid Cure. And I am sitting in that beautiful place in New Mexico, and I look over and I see this book on the shelf, The Thyroid Cure, and I think, oh man, that's crazy. And then I look at it again and I think, wait, that's the person I'm renting this from. I obviously need to look at this book. So at that point, I started to eat the non-inflammatory diet, and that really helped a lot. And if you know anything about that, it has to do with avoiding a lot of plants. It's really about avoiding plants, is what 99% of that diet entails, which didn't at that time send me into a lot of meat eating. Now, I had started to incorporate meat into my diet probably at about 30. Chicken wings were where I fell off, and something that I found that I just couldn't resist. And I didn't go over to eating beef for a very, very long time. I did chicken and fish for many, many years before I added beef back into my diet. But anyway, so I start doing that very restrictive diet, and I did it really well for about 6 months, and it really definitely helped. I felt a lot better. I was having a lot of, but not all of my really bad body pains. I mean, I never told anybody this. I had shooting pains in my arms and legs daily. I mean, and sometimes it would just, I would want to crumple in front of a client. And I was very, very good at masking, as lots of people with daily pain are. We tend to just push right through it. And I didn't really want to think about what could be wrong, honestly. I really didn't. I was avoiding it for sure. And so brain fog, weight gain, that I just couldn't get rid of. And, you know, no matter what I was trying to do on my mostly vegan and vegetarian diet at that time, I couldn't drop weight. You know, I would fast from time to time, and that would help me get there. But this was also before intermittent fasting was really starting to come about. I did the celery juicing. I had done juice fast for many, many years. Back even when I was vegan and vegetarian, I would do a 3-day juice fast like once a month, thinking like, I am so healthy. I also did the master cleanse for 2 weeks at a time once a year. So I really felt like I was taking care of myself at a good young age, so that as I got older, I was going to be like some kind of amazing rock star. Then I get into my 40s and I'm realizing I am definitely not a rock star at all. What is going on? Why are all of these things that I've been told are supposed to work are not working at all anymore? And I don't know exactly where the first carnivore video got slipped into my YouTube feed. For those of you that don't know, while I'm working in the daytime, I'm very often listening to scientific things and doctors and experts, whatever, via YouTube. It's almost always played in the background that I have something going on, trying to do some kind of continued education while I'm shipping orders or making products and stuff like that. So anyway, you know, it was probably Sean Baker. That's what sticks out in my head, is that Mr. Sean Baker, who at that time, when it was introduced to me, was really doing a lot of making fun of vegans and saying some, what I thought were kind of some nasty things. But it did make my ears perk up, and it did make me start to go, whoa, what is he talking about? Like, we're doing bad things to our bodies. How could that possibly be? And I watched a few of his videos, and, you know, he has some credentials. He's a surgeon. He's a heart doctor. He goes in and fixes these issues, and was saying that he fixed clients with the carnivore diet and they didn't need surgery. I have a lot of heart disease in my family on my mom's side, and so while that has never like super scared me, because I thought I was doing all the right things to not have heart disease, I started to kind of say, oh shit. And that led me to Dr. Chafee. That led me to names that I'm not even gonna remember at this point. I ended up though on Homestead How, and I watched a video that really makes me teary to this day. A video of these like lots and lots of super back home farm dudes, whatever, just working class men who talked about their emotional change, their depression lifting when they went carnivore. And I was in a very deep depression by this point. You know, I could have just attributed it to things that were going on in my life, and that's totally valid. That was completely valid. But I also thought to myself, wow, if just changing the way I'm eating if this could do this for these men who normally wouldn't want to talk about feelings, and you can see a light in their eyes, then like maybe it could do something for me. And of course, at this point, I was also hopeful to get rid of this daily intense pain that I was in. By the time I did go carnivore, I'll say one strange daily issue that came up was every morning when I woke up, my feet hurt to walk on. I can't even explain the pain. It wasn't a bone pain. It wasn't a muscle pain. I can't explain it. My feet just hurt. And I'm a pretty active person. I've always been an active person. My job is, active. I'm up making things for most of the day in my work. Shipping packages is physical. I go hiking a lot. And so I had this extreme foot pain, the loss of memory and brain fog and emotional distress had been increasing over the years. Absolutely. And the other thing that really switched me was the information about how we have eaten historically. Because when I'm doing plant medicine, I always check for indigenous uses of those plants so that I can better understand that while we may not have research today, the research that we always end up getting shows us that the indigenous uses of the plants was totally correct. And science will be like, oh my God, how did those indigenous peoples know that this and this and this terpene and this and this and this treated A, B, C, and D? It's so wild to us. So, I do think that we have a very innate sense within us of how to eat and how to go about the world when we are surrounded in nature. We're so far removed from that now that it's very difficult to remember what we're supposed to be doing. I found out that for this much of human history, we ate 99% meat. And then for this much of human history, we started farming, okay? And that was one of the clinchers. I'm all about, historical dominance in our bodies, what evolution has done, and how we're supposed to work, how we have worked better in the past, because cancer, thyroid issues, depression, name anything, heart disease. These diseases are diseases of modern man. And so that is one of the things that just like really clicked me into this might be this makes so much sense to me. I had the like, oh no, but I've been told that we don't have the right things to digest meat. We are supposed to eat lots of plants because the size and the stomach and this and the intestines are too long, blah, 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 blah. Also did research on that. That's all wrong. So I did the carnivore diet. I did beef, butter, bacon, eggs, and some cheese. And I will say that for most of it, I did have some Quest protein bars at night to satiate my need to eat in bed at night. But mostly I would try to do bacon. And I couldn't believe how fast I started to feel better. Of course I lost weight. I was at, like, if I wasn't being really strict about one meal a day or some type of intermittent fasting, I sat at about 180, 185. There was a time in my life when I got up to 200 pounds, which is like, I still look at pictures and I don't think I look 200 pounds, but I know what the scale said at that time. And so, losing weight wasn't the main thing that I wanted to do because I never thought I looked bad, really. My weight tends to go on to nice places. But I did lose weight, but my energy levels went way up. My brain fog really lifted. The foot pain went away within a few days completely. And I remember the morning that I got up and was like, I can walk to the bathroom. I can go to the bathroom without, like, I would walk in the morning and try not to show it, but just like, oh. And that would last for like 30 minutes when I got up. Which reminds me of one of the other symptoms that was really starting to freak me out. I was having like edema, most especially you could see in my legs, but I did the thing, and I have a video somewhere on my phone of you could press, into my leg, and it would take a solid 2 minutes before the dimple would fill back up again. And I could see that my feet were swollen. My hands were very, very swollen. I wish that I had like taken even videos or pictures of my hands before I went on the diet, because within 2 weeks, all of that, and I know that that's normal when you go on a keto diet, that the water weight is gone. And I think that water, holding water, had a lot to do with my foot pain, it seemed to me. So the edema in my legs was completely gone within a couple of weeks. I could bounce back when I poked myself, and everything just lifted. Everything just lifted and really, really shifted for me. And of course, we could say, like, because I didn't have the weight, I felt more energetic. But God, I felt energetic. And all of these other thyroid things went away. My hair has thickened up. I feel so much better. I did kind of go off, well, not kind of, I definitely went off the diet in the past few months, and that, I gave myself some grace. I got sober 7 months ago. So I had gone carnivore while still drinking, of course, because White Claw doesn't count, and neither do the shooters. But, I still managed to lose the weight. My symptoms still dramatically improved. I was still drinking alcoholically. When I first went on carnivore, I was very good about not drinking for like maybe a month or two, but that crept back in. So I will say that you should not drink on carnivore. It would be best for you. You'll see even more results, because I saw even more results once I got sober 7 months ago, for sure. Like, more results. And yeah, so today I am maintaining at 150. When I did lose weight on carnivore, I think I lost about 20 pounds. Well, I know that I lost 15 pounds in the first couple of months. And even at that, I was like, oh my God, I feel great. I'm not particularly heavy. I don't know if I need to lose any more weight. And I continued to lose weight until I lost 30 pounds. And I'm at 150 right now. I have right now I've got like the squishy belly, and that's kind of like the only place where things are hanging on. But also right now, I'm not on my diet. I have been just eating a lot of carbs, okay? Which I've never had a problem with in my life. When I was vegan and vegetarian, carbs actually weren't my thing either. But being on carnivore and getting off it, now I know what food noise is, you guys. Like, now I understand the rest of you and what cravings really are. Because I think my body's seen the best of the world, and now that I am eating some bread and granola and stuff like that, my brain is like, don't you want to eat more of that? So I'm about to get back on full carnivore again. And at some point, I will also post a video about why I think that properly using plant medicine while doing the carnivore diet is still appropriate. I have seen some benefits in that since I've been doing this. And I think that's it. I think that's what I wanted to talk about. If you guys have questions, please ask me down below. My next video that I plan on doing, that I was just making sure to do some research for this morning, is going to be about using sugar on your body instead of in your body, and why soap makes you really stinky. So those are some things that we're going to talk about in the future. But I wanted to talk about this issue because it's kind of shocked my clients that I did this, and I totally understand that. I have compassion for you because I would be shocked too. And I guess I shocked myself. But all I know is that it's worked, and I have watched and listened to hours, and I mean, probably 1,000 hours of actual human people talking about this changing their lives completely. And so I'm not advocating for anybody else to do this. You know, do your own research, find out more information, but consider it, you know, consider it. We can change our minds. We can find new information, and our bodies are really beautiful, amazing things, and they can heal really terrible things when they are given the right foods. Let food be thy medicine, please and thank you. And so I love you guys. Thank you so much. And this is the longest video I've done in a super long time. So I hope that people watch at least some of it. All right. Have such a good day. I love you. Bye.